I want to talk about Lamar Jackson's playoff struggles. All right, now, I know a lot of people done heard it already on social media, the whole, oh, Lamar Jackson doesn't perform well in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson just isn't able to get it done in the playoffs. And there's many people who I feel aren't giving Lamar Jackson the fair benefit of the doubt. It's like everybody has all these excuses for why Josh Allen and why Tua and Justin Herbert come up short, and why Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers choked that lead to the Jaguars. They got all the excuses for Josh Allen, but nobody wants to have the same excuses for Lamar Jackson. Some of y'all are just a tad bit biased when it comes to supporting your team starting QBs. Like, the narrative that Lamar Jackson can't win the playoffs just makes no sense to me. And then people try to negate the fact that he's won the playoff game. Yeah, you may think about his losses in the postseason when they got upset in 2019, his MVP year, to the Tennessee Titans, and when they had lost to the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round. But you forget that they beat the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs right after they got knocked out in the playoffs by Tennessee the year after. I mean, I don't get this whole narrative that Lamar Jackson cannot win in the postseason. Like, I think Lamar Jackson has been held back by the fact that Greg Roman has been unable to be able to game plan and actually prepare an offense that's going to be able to win in the postseason throwing the football. You see, in the NFL, it's not 2012 or 2011 anymore when you can win with having Dennis Pitta, Torrey Smith, and whoever else the Ravens had as their pass catchers the year they won the Super Bowl. Like, I keep hearing that. I keep hearing people say, JT, like, Lamar Jackson can't get it done in the postseason, but Joe Flacco was a Super Bowl champion and he had less. Like, that was a different era of football back then. The league has changed. You got to be able to throw the football if you want to win. You got to have some receivers outside that can make some plays. Like, even though Kansas City didn't have a star-studded group of wide receivers, like, they had a solid core of wide receivers. Juju Smith-Schuster, MVS, both of those guys would be starters over whoever the Baltimore Ravens were starting at wide receiver last year. Lamar Jackson with Todd Monken, I'm trying to tell you people, he is going to cook this year. He's going to cook this year. Like, the narrative that Lamar Jackson can't get it done in the postseason is really starting to blow me. Y'all got to quit. Y'all got to quit. Like, if you want to make these excuses for Justin Herbert and all these other QBs who come up short in the playoffs, Dak Prescott, you got to have the same respect for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is one of the most talented QBs of the past decade. When Lamar Jackson is on, you do not want to see this man. And now the fact that he has some legitimate wide receivers, I cannot wait for this season to start, bro. Because Lamar Jackson is probably going to end up winning his second MVP this year. Todd Monken is going to be able to elevate this passing game. You're going to have an offensive coordinator that's going to upgrade the route combinations that the Baltimore Ravens have been running for the last couple of years under Greg Roman. A lot of Ravens fans and a lot of people in the national media have called out Greg Roman for his elementary level route concepts. Greg Roman's version of 4 wide receiver sets in the spread offense was having 3 tight ends on the field, man. You telling me that Lamar Jackson was supposed to win with 3 tight ends on the field, man? Like, come on. It's the year 2023, not 1994 or 2006 or 2011 or 2012. It's 2023. You got to be able to have receivers who can win outside. You got OBJ, which OBJ, a lot of y'all seem to forget, he was on the verge of winning Super Bowl MVP. You saw what happened to that Rams offense when OBJ got injured in that Super Bowl. They struggled to sustain anything on offense until the final couple of minutes of that game against Cincinnati. You got Zay Flowers, who in my opinion was the best receiver coming out of this past year's draft. You got Rashad Bateman, which some of y'all may be believers in Rashad Bateman still. Some of y'all might have already hopped off the Rashad Bateman hype train, but Rashad Bateman has shown flashes of what he can be when he was healthy last year. So you got Rashad Bateman, you got OBJ, Zay Flowers, you got Mark Andrews as well. Lamar Jackson is going to cook this year under Todd Monken. And the fact that Lamar Jackson can't win in the postseason, I think is a false narrative when he already has a playoff win. Like, I think that too many people are trying to go off a narrative about Lamar Jackson that isn't truly accurate. A lot of people think that Lamar Jackson just isn't a good thrower of the football, and that's false. The dude was top 10 in QBR last year. Every game that Lamar Jackson has played, the Baltimore Ravens have always had the opportunity to win. When Lamar Jackson plays, the Ravens are normally in contention for the #1 seed. And then when he gets injured, that's where things start to go left. But we got to stop with this narrative that Lamar Jackson can't win the playoffs based on history. History does not define how good a quarterback's going to be in the foreseeable future. You got to judge a quarterback for what he has now, the weapons that he has, the offensive coordinator that he has. The Ravens are going to be running the same offense this season that they ran under Greg Roman. This is going to be an offense that's going to be elevated. This is going to be a passing attack that's going to be the best that Baltimore has had in years. So the narrative that Lamar Jackson will never be able to get it done in the playoffs and he's just a terrible playoff performer, he's just a great regular season quarterback, I think is false.